And good evening, everybody. Welcome to an all-new episode of Holotheatre. As always, I am Dan Tartaglione, also known as D Tartag1. Joining us tonight, and his first episode ever as a co-host, is the your runner-up from Nationals and Endor, Brad Reinhold. And tonight, our special guest is the guy who won the NPC this year, Drew Lichtenstein. You won. That's like the first major that New Allies have won in like a while, right?
Yeah, it's the only one that we've won since we've kind of done the New Allies team thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. Greg, before I joined in 2019, like when they just had started the team, I think he won nationals. Or he did
So,
win nationals. Yeah,
so
yeah.
you,
But not nearly as impressive, honestly, as back-to-back second places as Brad has done. So
I mean, second.
quite the streak Brad's been on. It's really
I
impressive.
mean, yeah, Brad is on a good little streak. I mean, you know what
It's
prompted
nothing like the Kessling run, though.
it?
Hey, give it
It's,
time. We're gonna get it right on the casting run.
we are. We're gonna. We'll mention the Kessling run a little bit later on because Mike and Jeremy have been putting on a great show there. But the reason Drew is on is not to talk about the NPC because that's all in the past. We're talking about new stuff tonight, and the new stuff in the Star Wars CCG world right now is Set 19's out.
Yeah.
Like the PDF is live. You can go on the internet. You can download it. You can print it. You can sleeve it up. I mean, you can't legally play with it yet, but I don't think anybody. I don't think Chris Kelly's going to be knocking on some doors if you decide to play a fun little game with your friends with some of the art cards and the 0 hour and all the other fun stuff.
I mean, I'm probably not supposed to say this in the chat, so I definitely am not about to say this. But I was like, this weekend is Georgia State's, and I was kind of telling people like,
Ooh, really?
you know,
Where is it in Atlanta?
it's in the same spot as the regionals will be up in Duluth. Um,
Well, I don't have school until the 22nd. I wish somebody had
Do
told
it.
me about this sooner.
well, I unfortunately can't make it,
Uh,
All
but
the more reason for me to drive up with you.
yeah.
but I think I did send it to you before. But anyways, I brought it up now because I was just like, technically, I mean, to these people, you don't submit deck lists for
You
states, so
don't.
no one. I don't, yes, you shouldn't play set 19 cards, but
What Chris Kelly doesn't know won't hurt him, right?
yeah, I'm sure Chris isn't listening right now. He's not the
He
only
is
person who's
listening.
posted
He's in the
in
chat.
chat. I know.
So I actually have a question for you, Drew.
Yeah.
Are there Player of the Year points available for Georgia States?
Yes, there would be 1 point. We're not gonna. It sounds like it's gonna be a small crowd, probably 4 or 5 people. But they'll post in
Okay.
the forums.
In that case, please send me the information after this.
Just hop in the forums. It's in the states forums.
Brett doesn't
Okay,
go
I'll
in the
look.
forums.
I'll
I'll
look.
shoot you a message. Definitely. We'd love for you to come.
So, okay,
Yeah, that'd be great.
before we go on a tangent about Georgia States, let's talk about the
Sorry.
big thing.
Yes.
The set 19 that the design team and everybody worked on, and they released it early. A lot of people were expecting it to come out after all the events that are coming out this weekend. Chris decided, you know what? No, here it is. Merry Christmas. And it dropped. Images,
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
a lot of that speaks to just the amazing work that the graphics and the coding team does. I mean, it really just incredible. I mean, the graphics on the site in this set are just unreal, and I mean, they knock it out so
Yeah.
fast. It's graphics, it's proofing, right? Really making sure everything is worded correctly and fits in the text space, and coding too. I mean, the set is coded and ready, and we have our, Monday morning it's gonna be on GIMP, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
all the teams right now are really firing on all cylinders. It's really, really impressive work that everyone's doing right now.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, like, playtesting did a great job with this one. The big thing was like almost all these cards are like ready to go, like you said,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
just
that's one of the
through.
biggest thing, the nicest things about playtesting. And playtesting has a lot of advantages, but probably the nicest thing is just getting all the cards tested in GIMP before they go live.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just knowing, we've got the bugs ironed out. Jeremy did some amazing work in this set. He really picked up some stuff in the last few weeks. There's a couple particularly kind of complicated cards that were hard to code that he figured out, that he worked on. And Adam did the previous set. Just, I mean, slicers are really doing an amazing job with GIMP these days.
So I gotta ask first things first.
Yeah.
Drew, what's your
Yes.
favorite card in this set?
My favorite card in this set.
One card.
One card. Well, I already wrote an article on Vader V, which is probably my favorite card. So we'll do a different one. If anyone's interested, you can go to the main Star CCG PC website to read that article about how we designed the new Vader.
And that one's the white border
Yeah, the
Premier
two-player
one.
intro game one that uploads a couple different interrupts and how we
Mhm.
kind of designed them. Let's pick something else because I already wrote about him. I would
Okay.
say I really like the design and what came together with Finn Rao, actually. Finn Rao, sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. The Rebel Alien Mandalorian. I think he's got a really cool ability. This is actually one of Ryan Wilson's designs.
Mhm.
That he has this ability to basically at the end of a battle you can pick him back up, you activate a couple force, you retrieve a force if you win the battle, and it's neat to kind of have this character who can kind of jump in and out of battles like that. And I think it's really interesting design. I don't think there's necessarily like this just specific home for him. I don't think just throw him into any main stick or whatever. But I like these sort of cards that are a little bit different while encouraging battle.
Yeah.
And I think similar to Finn, if I can pick two or pick one on the other side,
Okay.
I really like Fennec Shan. Similarly, right? Another character who's really encouraging battle. Both obviously with kind of the dark side version of Din's ability, making him lose a force if the target goes lost. But just this, like, it's a really unique, different ability, like this not taking battle damage in battles you initiated. Like, what can you do with that? Right? There's a lot of there's a lot of interesting things that it doesn't necessarily immediately slot into, but I like those sort of cards, right? These sort of cards that maybe open up different lines of play than what is, obvious.
So, Brad, what about you? What is one of your pick a side, pick both sides. One card from both sides. What is your favorite card?
So I would actually echo Drew on the dark side card. I like Fennec. I think Fennec has a home in Bring It, actually. Because if they stack a site with multiple guys, you can drop down, like, let's say an EPP Maul, like a Lord Maul, and Fennec, and initiate battle. And even if you lose the battle horribly, you're going to clear like 3 or 4 guys.
That's true.
So I would say for dark side, probably Fennec. For light side, I'm actually a big fan of the new Ezra.
Okay. And why Ezra in particular?
Because he makes everything else in the 0 hour deck tick. Like him and what's his face, the Jedi guy that came out a couple sets ago.
Canon.
Yeah. Those two guys together make that deck tick. Like the +2 defense value, the +2 forfeit. It basically turns it into a really good version of Watch Your Step that has better benefits on the flip side, I think.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think, and actually, Ezra's an interesting one to mention, Brad, because we last minute tweaked him just a little bit up. He was actually one of the cards that, like, literally, like, a few days before we finalized before the graphics came out and everything was final. We bumped his destiny from 1 to 2, and we bumped his immunity to attrition from less than 3 to less than 4, just to see if maybe he could show up a little bit more outside the 0 hour deck, because we like the kind of soft counter to Maul. We know Shadow Collective has been really, still remains a really dominant deck even after the errata. Brad, you've certainly put Maul to great use in the Sikfa deck, and we think we wanted to give we wanted to give decks slightly better options. So obviously Ezra has a great home in 0 hour, but I wonder if he might even show up in other decks.
I think he might show up in a hit code, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a deck that could definitely use another good body load.
And I mean, if we're talking about favorite cards, so I guess I should give mine. My first one is, and for light side, I'm going to go a little bit different. I really like Weather Vane, and the reason is because it's different. It might not see a lot of play in a lot of the decks that people want to play, but at the same time, like it shows a lot of creativity. Like I guess this is a player creative card. It's done by
it's
Christian.
Chris. Christian.
I'm willing to bet that Bastion's going to find a way to break that away.
Bastion can break almost anything. But,
Yeah.
I mean, just
got to start draining under the shield and EVO.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's different. Like it rewards the light side for trying to drain, but it encourages the dark side to try and fight at the same time. And the mechanic is new. Like I like interesting and different mechanics. So that's so.
Definitely.
For Dark Side Fennec, yeah, I mean, I love Fennec. Like, it's one of the best images. Like, she looks like, I can't remember the actress's name, but she looks like her. I also like Morgan Elspeth. Really good. I think she's going to work with Thrawn a lot, and yeah, it's very good body, good stats.
Yeah. Imperials that draw on their own always have a home, at least in my life.
But at the same time, like, but I mean, for me though,
do you think that card will make it into Rob's?
Morgan Elspeth?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she draws on her own. If you control two systems, and it's not battleground, so you can control routes here. It's Dream +1. It's interesting during like design. Justin often referred to like the cards like a mini game. Right, so you get the Drain +1, but you have to kind of go through some hoops, right? I mean, you have to control your own battleground. Also, she has to be present at the site, so she can't just hide inside of a vehicle. So she's used by a lightsaber. So, like, it's interesting to add that sort of like, it's not just like, oh, here's a Drain +1. Like, you have to work on for it a little bit. And
absolutely,
Blade has ways to interact with it.
And I cannot not mention the new Vader's lightsaber. Like, the fact that we have an episode 1 Vader's lightsaber now just makes me happy.
Yeah, that was a card that we basically added almost last minute. We spoiled the stunning move starting Interrupt. And people were lukewarm on it. I think it's being a little underrated. I think it will definitely give the deck some new options. But like, everyone's just like, we should just make a Vader, why isn't there an episode 1 Vader's lightsaber? And it's funny because we went through a lot of different ideas in design, and we were like, should this be like Anakin's lightsaber, the dark side, and so you have like a persona of it that's like Lando's, and they're like, no, we could just be Vader's lightsaber and just slap an episode 1 icon on it. So that's what we did there for that. The stunning move Interrupt is really interesting because that was a totally different card that even in playtesting.
Really?
Yeah, so actually what it originally did is it started episode 1 Vader with his lightsaber at the site.
Okay.
But then it locked in your starting effects. So it locked it in with Evil is Everywhere, and then I think Battle Order and Unlimited Power. Right, so like it tried to basically be like, here's your free Vader, but you don't get Maul, you're limited on other effects, and it just didn't work. It was too bad because I kind of like the idea, and I think down the line we might try to do something else that becomes like an episode 1 Vader theme deck, which I love. But it didn't work because like it was too restricted in what it could do, and then like randomly, like if you face mains and it had Jedi Council Chamber, you would just move Vader there and just start draining for 4. So it was just like, it either like blew out decks with Jedi Council Chamber or lost everything else. It wasn't,
I mean, if I'm going to play against Hitco, yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the best approach, but so that's basically fair. That kind of morphed into the current helper for stunning move, basically under the same way that we tried to help Ralops, which is like, look, free up an effect, like basically, let's see how decks play when they're not having to lock in a starting effect. So if it's not good enough, we can always come back and. But I'd like to see how it plays out. I think people are underrating it a little bit. I think getting a free effect is always good. Getting a system you can protect your site with perfect order is just relevant. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. So we got to talk about now. A couple of weeks ago, we had Kuhn and Steven on to talk about the Thrawn theme and everything. So, and I know Jared and I forget who else created, but we have a article on the 0 hour and everything. So why in particular did you guys decide to go with the Thrawn and the 0 Hour themes in
Yeah.
this set in particular?
Sure. So the Thrawn theme was part of the design pod process that has been going on for almost year and a half now. We bring in people like obviously you had them on the show a couple weeks ago. Members of the community who are really engaged, really interested to basically create a new theme, right? And Thrawn is something that even before I joined D&D, they knew they wanted to get into the game, right? Thrawn is such an iconic character. There's just a lot of really interesting stuff you can do there. So even back before I was on D&D, like just when I was in playtesting over 6 months ago, the Thrawn card showed up, right? So that idea was set quite some time ago. And then actually, Matthew Harrison Trainer, he wrote the article about 0 Hour, which was posted on the site a couple of weeks ago. He was really the one who was like, okay, well, if we're going to do Thrawn, why don't we do Rebels too, right? I mean, they're just as popular. We have a lot of these cards already in the game. They're not tied together very well, right? I mean, Hera sees a lot of play because she's just a generically good character. But like Ezra is very specialized. Canon never, really sees any play. Chopper and Zeb are basically unplayable, right? Why don't we, no one plays Ghosts in tandem.
Yeah.
Why don't we make a deck for that, right? This would be really fun and let's do it with Thrawn. We can really hype it up. We know graphics is gonna knock it out of the park, right? So this could be like a really exciting set. So Matt was actually the one who originally pushed the 0 Hour objective. He originally posted it as just the objective and a few sites. We workshopped it a bit, just in D&D. And really, it didn't take long for just the objective and the sites to get into playtesting because we just wanted to see, okay, play some games, tell us what this means. And then from there, it really evolved. So, realized, okay, we need an effect probably, due to text limit restrictions and also just kind of the way these decks work, let's walk it in with an effect. Here's an objective, here's an effect that also will make your dude +1. Matt wanted to, in particular, also have it download wedge and A-wing, so you have some other pieces that come together with it. The sites all got updated as we went. Ezra was actually one of the later pieces that came in that Matt mentioned in the article, which was we realized that the Ezra that currently exists just isn't going to fit in the deck very well because the Ezra that currently exists is all about going to their sites, right? So if we're trying to build this platform, let's make a new Ezra. It's fun. He's like a mini main in many ways. Let's pick an Ezra that really fits. And then basically like the last piece that got added was the return of Rescue in the Clouds, basically. Right. So we had, Let the Wookiee Win back from Legacy, Rescue in the Clouds up until it was errata about a year ago. It was a really, really powerful piece. And, Matt brought up the idea that was, I think, really smart, which is like, look, this is really powerful. We don't want to generically in every deck, but what if this is like a tool we can add to certain decks, right? So we basically added it to 0 Hour. So 0 Hour could have this, one of 0 Hour's identities is basically it's very card, right? It has Rescue in the Clouds. There's cheap guys who, with the cannon that Brad mentioned, draws cards when they come into play, right? So it's a real efficient card drawing engine sort of. But yeah, so that's kind of, the origination came from we knew we were doing Thrawn, let's do Rebels with it. And then from there, kind of, building out what we thought would be a fun interactive deck, like what Matt talked about. We want decks that battle. We want decks that are kind of balanced in space and sites. We want decks that threaten to do damage, but then also have to go deal with their opponents doing damage. Just interaction. That's really what we're trying to push.
Okay. So I have a question.
Yeah.
Was Joker King the reason why you were limited on the text?
Oh, yes. Not Joker King in particular. Proofing as a whole is keeps us in D&D in line, because if they don't, we're gonna reintroduce missions on you guys. Okay.
No, please don't. No.
No. Actually, when we're in the design process, we have a document that we copy cards into that we can check. So we check ourselves at that stage.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't wait on proofing to tell us something's too long.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so we talked about the 0 Hour and everything, and we talked about the Thrawn. So what other cards do you think are going in this set are going to shape the meta going forward?
what other cards are going to shape the meta specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say up front that for this set, we didn't do as much like focused meta tinkering in the sense that the previous set had tried to do more of that, where we're like, we want to boost specific decks, we want to make a counter, or we want to have, more counterplay for certain decks.
Mm-hmm.
We actually see a lot of this set, and a lot of these are the cards we're talking about that we like. We're like, let's just get some fun characters in the game that we haven't had in yet. We're talking about Fennec Shan, we're talking about Babu Frick is a fan favorite, Dexter. No, I'll be honest, a lot of these designs came from Ryan Jellison. Ryan
God.
just has threads and threads of ideas for like cards that we haven't gotten in the game yet. And honestly, one of the first things I did when I joined D&D is I just started bumping up these threads. Like, I love these cards. Let's make them. Like the Finnick is very much a Ryan design. I'm very proud that I helped get Ugor Plot in the game because I just want to say.
I was gonna say he's. I think it was Ryan who posted today on Slack saying that Unkar Platt has been in development longer than the Cypher has actually had the game.
Yeah, and I mean he's not obviously the game text isn't that way.
No, but I mean, how long have we been trying to get Unkar Platt into the game?
Well, here he is. Okay, but so to answer your question specifically, the stuff that I think will be the most impactful on the meta, like on the competitive meta, setting aside Thrawns and Rebels, both of which I think have be impactful decks. I think the new Vader definitely could be impactful. I talked about it in the article. I mean, he was really designed with the current meta in mind, in the sense that we know that Darkside mains struggle a little bit against no idea and old allies. So we wanted to give them what we thought would be a really good tool to fight that. The Vader's, I think, has a good opportunity there. I think Cara Dune will be impactful, partially because the 4-strain +1 against Sigma could be good, which, by the way, was not, Brad, just so you know, was not like, oh, we got to hit Sigma. We actually discussed that 4-strain +1 on that card even before your first placing at a major, because we're like, we got to do something thematic, right? Like, she's so mad about Alderaan, being blown away. So, but also just, having an EPP that fires twice for light side. Darkseid's always had Thinker, but having someone who can clear up sites for light side, I think could be really impactful.
I wanted to say I really liked how you guys took it down to a +1 instead of a +2. I thought the +2 was a little bit oppressive.
Oh, on the shooting, yeah. We definitely heard the feedback on that. I thought the +2 was maybe okay because it gives you a better shot at shooting Blizzard 1 and Beers, who I think is a tough nut to crack for a lot of decks. But I think the +1 will be more fair. Yeah, so I think those two cards will be pretty impactful on the meta. But then otherwise, just some of these individual characters will show up and they'll have roles in decks. But I think obviously the hope, or what we're really interested to see, is if the two new objectives are impactful. Oh, and No Escape. Obviously the No Escape.
Yeah, I think No Escape.
That'll be.
Wishing I had said No Escape as my favorite card.
Yeah. No Escape, effectively, banning Landing Claw.
Why? Like, okay. I get.
I don't know. I only lost a major because of Landing Claw. So I mean, why would I?
What major did you lose because of Landing Claw?
Indoor.
No, you lost it because Jeff beat you.
Because of Landing Claw.
That's fair. I mean, so speaking of like the No Escape and everything, like this card does a lot. There's a lot it cancels the Landing Claw. It puts it out of play. And then Ellis and Nabrin are both unique and lost interrupts. Like,
so I can take those one at a time real quick. So the Landing Claw piece, honestly, I kind of liked what we had originally designed as like a skill testing thing with Landing Claw. So the original one that we had said that you can't attach with it. So the idea being, if you preemptively played it, they couldn't basically play Landing Claw. And if you played it after Landing Claw had already been attached, then basically they can block your drain, but they don't get to satisfy battle order, more or less, is what that would do. And I thought that was like an interesting skill testing thing, right? So it's like you got to decide, because the thing is, the trade-off is if you play it early, you don't get the No Escape power to bring a card back in the hand. And I personally think No Escape is just, I put it in every single deck that has We Must Accelerate Our Plans, because I think the ability to spin 3 force to just get the top card of your lost pile back is really powerful versatility. But if you wanted to play it to stop the Landing Claw in advance, you don't get to pick up a better card. That was a trade-off.
Okay.
However, basically when we posted it, people were like, this isn't good enough. We hate Landing Claw. Please get rid of Landing Claw, basically. Like, all right, sure, whatever. The card just says Landing Claw's gone, forever.
Okay.
And so, we listen to the people, and I'm not a huge Landing Claw fan either. I think it's one of those decipher negative interactions that kind of has been lingering. So I was fine doing that too. I just thought maybe people wanted a more nuanced take.
I don't think Landing Clause is necessarily the issue. I think with the Barg win and being able to get it back on repeat, essentially.
Right. And
sense.
there's been a couple cards now that put it out of play, like the Tarkin's orders from Lost Pile. But then you got to have two cards. And now you got to dedicate two cards that don't do anything.
And not only that, but if you cancel Landing Claw, they get the next action to retrieve it with Berglund before you can place it out of play with the Tarkin's orders.
Right. It just doesn't work that way. And it's just an obnoxious card. And the Landing Claw mini game's not interesting. And there's been a lot of majors in the last 2 years where Landing Claw has showed up and been relevant.
TC20 because of that bullshit.
Yeah, and there was another one where Bastion.
No, you're thinking of Quite a Mercenary.
No, I know. There was definitely something online. I think it was an OCS game, an OCS top something. Or
I know Jared had the little Y-wing that could.
Right. It's just it showed up so much, and we're really trying to push interactive.
Yeah.
Not the Landing Claws, not that.
So why include the game text that Nabram and Ellis are lost and unique?
The Nabram and Ellis stuff came up because there's been not a lot, but there's been decks recently, like some of the communing lists, like Tom's communing list, and also Silver Glen had some decent success with some of these lists that are just all in on digging out Nabram, and then they got two Nabrams, so even if you counter the first one and grab it, they just Nabram again, and then they're like, here's my Jedi Presence beat down. And okay, so I don't want to get rid of Nabram and Ellis entirely at all. I really don't. I actually think those are interesting cards, sort of like Lateral Damage, that yes, they create big kind of blowout situations, but you can learn to play around them, right? So when you see main decks like that, you think to yourself, okay, they're going to have Nabram, or they could have Nabram. How do I play around Nabram? Well, some good counterplay to Nabram would be find your counter to Nabram, or to play counters to Nabram, or grab Nabram, But the problem is these decks that are built around, well, I'll just have a second Nabram and do it again, kind of weaken those counterplays a little too much. So No Escape opens up better counterplays to Nabram without just eliminating Nabram, because I don't want to eliminate Nabram. I think playing around it is interesting.
Okay. And I noticed with this version of No Escape, there's no Honor the Jedi text.
That's
in there.
correct. There is no Honor the Jedi text. Certainly, Joker King would put us in text link jail if we tried to keep that on there.
Was that the only reason?
I mean, we knew designing the card would have the link. So both noted that. I don't think it'll be that impactful because, to be honest, the overlap of decks that care about Landing Claw and that also care about Honor the Jedi is very few, right? Okay. So, Bring Them Before Me or Hunt Down don't have capital shift. They don't care about Landing Claw. They're just going to play original modes.
To be fair, I mean, Bring Them Before Me did run the Combo Star Destroyer for a little while.
Yes, but it has no system to play at that. So it runs the Combo Star Destroyer to deploy it to its opponent's system at that. Right. But in general, the decks that could get hit by it, the deck that honestly helps the most is Map, because Map both is soft to Nabram, soft to Landing Claw, and has Kylo who already spin on her. So it's kind of like a slotted attack in some ways.
We finally did something good for Map instead of just eradicating it to death.
It happens from time to time. It wasn't like we're like, oh, we got to help Map. It's just the cards we'll talk about. But then, but yeah, I mean, or conversely, like Brad, Sigma deck is not gonna care about Honor, right?
No.
Exactly. No. So I think it'll be almost negligible where you have a deck that has to choose between Landing Claw protection and Honor.
So going forward, we've seen all the stuff that's now for set 19. What are you guys with D&D thinking about next?
Okay, so I got not a cryptic message from Chris, but I could tease a couple of things.
Ooh, I like teases.
So we are already discussing and working on, with cards and, design and stuff up to set 22. So
Wow.
we've got the next 3 sets worth of stuff theme-wise set up. To be very clear, that's not individual cards.
Okay.
So like individual cards like Babu Frick in this set or whatever, those all just get thrown in wherever we throw them in. And of course, we'll respond to the meta after Worlds and things like that.
Okay.
So I am not going to announce the theme for set 20 right now because I just let's hold that off. I think it'll be exciting. People will be happy to see it. But set 20 will be another one like this set, which is a versus theme. An exciting, light and dark versus each other sort of thing. As will be set 21, which I guess we'll basically spoil what the thing will be. So for set 21, we're doing the same thing where there's a pod that's been working on walkers, actually. And it's been in design for like over a year now. And some of the cards that came out already, obviously from it, were the new site and the new Blizzard 1, and that walker spec has already been pretty impactful. So we're going to make set 21 a side-by-side theme with that, where the dark side is going to flesh out the rest of its theme, and they're going to target the main power generators, right? It's going to be, it's going to really become, more of that. Okay. And then for light side, I've actually been working in D&D. We've been working on defending Hoth, right? So we've got the defend Hoth theme, when we don't have specific sets. Probably speeders, maybe some stuff to transport. We'll see what it is, but we'll set that up as the theme for 21.
Virtual Planet Defender Ion Cannon.
And so
I have a request for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we do something to help EVO against Shadow Collective?
No, this will not be an EVO deck.
No.
I'll tell you that right
now.
So definitively, whatever we end up coming with, we'll set restrictions so that it's not EVO.
Not EVO.
Can't play other. No, it'll be about speeders. Or it'll be about echo-based troopers. It'll be a balance between light, gravity, and space. But the dark one will be, walkers. So we will be charging into the main power generators. We'll try to. And then for set 22, we are not going to do a versus theme. So we're still figuring out for dark side right now what we'll want the main dark theme to be. But Dan, would you like to tell everyone what the set 22 theme is going to be for light side?
I hear it's going to be about that show that's on Disney Plus that came out a couple years ago with a guy that has a shiny helmet.
There you go. So Dan is part of a design pod working on The Mandalorian. But I'm leading that up. So I'm the D&D kind of rep for that pod. So
First
for those
design
taking
pod.
Notes,
I won't fail it.
For those taking notes, set 20, I will not spoil. I won't say anything at all about the actual next set that we have coming up, but we're very excited for it. Set 21 will be a Hoth theme, and set 22, at least the light side theme, will be there.
Awesome.
What we got cooking.
I'm glad that Chris is in the chat because he can't yell at you. Like you said, you got permission.
Exactly.
So, but okay, awesome. Like I'm definitely excited for at least the Mandalorian theme.
I hope you are, because you got a lot of work to do.
I do. I do. I have to go back and watch season 1, season 2, and the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's technically Mando / Boba Fett.
Yeah. But okay, awesome. So that's set 19. So like I said, it drops in play on GEP on Monday.
Monday.
You guys can play it legally Monday. So apparently Chris says he can't yell at you, Drew, because you're the hardest worker, most sensible, reasonable, easygoing guy, and he loves you.
Chris is far too kind. Chris is an amazing advocate. Does incredible stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
Also, when he said sensible, I think he meant to say sensitive. He knows if he said something critical about me.
So, okay, let's check up on our OCS of the our August OCS standings right now. Connor and Justin Desai are currently sitting at 10-2. Nice. Steve Baroni is right there behind him, sitting at 10-1. Steve has a chance to finish out 11-1. That's impressive.
One more should be winning in. 11-1 seems like it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and then I don't know if anybody else is following this, but I think I'm back. Kendall Holman is in 4th place at 9-3.
Yeah, nice run by Kendall.
Yeah, like Kendall.
Maybe he's got to get a little fire under him,
does.
setting up for Worlds.
Ever since he decided to name me as his nemesis, the dude has been doing great.
Yeah. But no, I mean, Steve is looking really good for that spot. And then honestly, up for grabs. I mean, Connor definitely is looking good at Inning 2 if no one else can break an extra 1 record. Also, Connor's just looking good in general. I think he has like the overall at-large bid, and there's still 2 at-large season. So, yeah.
And in the Jawa Brawl, Joe Olson has taken over 12-0. Both of them, however, are 11-1. Joe has a slightly better opponent win percentage. And looking on down the line, Brad Kipple has a chance at 7-1.
What's Bastion at? I know he just started playing, I think.
Yeah, Bastion's at 3-0.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your charge to look out for, Bastion. He started playing in the last couple days.
And this weekend, if you guys have been paying attention, we have 4 regionals this weekend, and we have Georgia States.
Georgia States, which Brad is now attending.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm going to try.
I sent you the info.
So
I got the link. Thank you.
So Endor Regionals will be at Linwood, Washington. Coruscant Regionals will be in East Norrington. Bestman Regionals will be at South St. Paul, Minnesota. And Alderaan Regionals will be in Pasadena, California.
Nice.
And then, like I said, Georgia States is going to be in Duluth, Georgia.
Yeah.
So everybody stay tuned to the PC and Slack and see who wins all of those. We'll talk about those in a little bit. Again, the European Championship, September 9th through the 11th. If you're going, make sure you guys read up on the nice European Championship article that was written by Christensen and Jared and all the rest of everybody. So that is on the forums. And then Worlds, again, is October 13th through the 16th. A lot of prizes have been announced. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'll do the plug for Worlds obligatory since I'm actually the organizer for it since it's here in Atlanta. Obviously, we'd love to see everyone there. The hotel is fantastic. This is, I think, the same spot where National was like 3 years ago. Or for anyone who's ever attended Dragon Con, it's one of the Dragon Con hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Right in downtown. It's only a 20-minute ride from the airport on the train for $2. Gets you right to the hotel. Good central location for getting food. We've got the room for all 4 days, starting at 8 a.m. on Thursday. So if you guys want to come in early and have a real make it just a full 4-day weekend with all the guys, we've got the space for it. Definitely check out the forms for the hotel booking link. I think we have another about 3 weeks or so where you can book to get our discounted rate.
And make sure you stay at the hotel. If you're not staying at the hotel, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
all the fun stuff is at the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. You want to enjoy the time with everyone. The space we have is really nice too. We actually have an extended space for Saturday and Sunday. So nice. Top 8 will be in its own room next door, so they won't, consolation and board games.
Okay. Also, once Set 19 drops, we're gonna have ourselves a Set 19 release party.
Yeah.
So something new. Magic does it, so why not the PC? It's free to enter. All you got to do is go on and fill out a Google form. If you play 6 games, you get the new Grand Admiral Thrawn AI.
Which is beautiful. I love that AI. It's so nice.
That's for 6 games. You get that on GEMP. If you play 12 games, you get an actual copy. 10 random players who play 12 games will also get PC 20 stickers. People who play 12 games will get a non-foil AI fin. And I hear there might be a secret AI, but I don't know. And
Thrawn is really nice looking. I love that. I mentioned this in Slack today. I love that we can do full slips for stuff that used to be like half slips, right? So this is the Grand Admiral Thrawn V, the General Admiral one. And the fact that we can do an alternate image for him, so now all 3 Thrawns have different images is really
cool. And you know what? The best thing that Chris and design and proofing and graphics did, there's only one C-slip in this entire set. I would love the day when we have no more C-slips.
That's good. What is the one? Oh, the 1C slip. To be fair, the 1C slip.
1C slip's not a bad one. I'll give it that. Like,
and I want to shout out that C slip. That's Tusken Raider with hunting rifle, which is Devin's player card. Devin does all the amazing GIF stuff behind the scene, all the like architecture of the website, and all the kind of really important stuff to keep that running. So we can definitely forgive him having a C slip. It's a cool card, by the way. I'm curious to see if there could be a good buy kind of comes up with it.
Like I'm not saying bad things about the card. I'm just loving the fact that we only have 1 C slips.
Yeah. I'm laughing because when I first really got back into the game, I don't share it. I use my Kessel's cards. It's not a very collected all this. And I came over one time to help, cut cards, and I tried to cut a C slip, and he just looks at me and is like, "Let's find something else for you."
God, that's great. Speaking of slips and everything, wrong one. The V-Slip errata trading program is still going on. Some of those are including the Blue Squadron 1, Daughter of Skywalker, I Want That Map, Savage Press AI, Slip Sliding Way, and the Steadfast. All those cards, like again with the Steadfast, because it is getting an errata. It no longer will work at any battleground. It has to be an Episode 7 battleground. Sorry, Brad.
No, Episode 7 system, not battleground.
Okay.
Yeah, so it works at the Starkiller base.
Okay. Yep. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and get all those traded into Jared, you got to do this by September 15th, and then you'll get limit to 3 per person are eligible for trade in. I don't know if that's like total or like you can trade in like one of each. Like you get 3 copies of the Steadfast, 3 of Daughter, so on and so forth. But make sure you guys get that all done because again, it's a little over a month now until that ends. And then the PC Twitch incentive. So if you're watching Twitch right now, which you are, we introduced a new. That's still going, and it's going great. Like one of the AIs you can get for that is the Yoda Hut foil full art image one, which looks amazing.
Which is really beautiful.
So go ahead and make sure you guys check that out. Speaking of which, Drew, give us a card for a token tonight.
A card for a token? What do you mean?
The sticker program.
Oh, I don't know what I have to give. Where's my list?
Just pick any card you want, and that's going to be our sticker for our token.
All right, let's make it a featured player in the new Zero deck. Let's do Hera.
Excellent.
Okay. So there's your token if you're doing the sticker program. Right now the current sticker program will go until August 31st. So once September rolls around, we'll start getting out the next batch of those. So be on the lookout for those. Speaking of the sticker programs and everything going on with those, Babu Freak is not a card yet, so he's not he can't be a token yet, Chris. At Worlds, I'm planning.
He's my oldest friend.
He is, but I'm planning on collaborating with Kevin Yap on getting some good stuff going. If you went to Endor, we did the whole team tournament. We're going to bring that back for Worlds.
Oh, cool.
We're going to do Star Wars trivia. I'll be running Star Wars trivia, so if you guys want to do that, and we're trying to do a lot of other different stuff at Worlds. Make it kind of like the Euros, but bring some American flair to it.
That'll be awesome.
And I will say this. I also have a special prize to give out at Worlds to certain players. So this is something I've been working on for about a year now. So if you're going to Worlds and just make sure you go. We're not going to do bowling, Bill. I think we're going to do mini golf. And mini golf with alcohol. Yeah.
Margarita aisle 1.
Yeah. That's why we're doing mini golf. Okay, so I think we got some times for some swing and a miss. So we got 4 questions tonight. We'll talk about all this stuff going on forward. Our first question for tonight is 0 Hour will see more play at first than the Thrawn Theme. Let's start with Drew.
So more play here, meaning like maybe we'll say more competitive play, like OCS, regionals, worlds. Right? Because I think as soon as it launches a game, everyone's going to play both decks a lot, right?
Yeah. I'm saying like in person, like
and
stuff
like
that.
and like relevant. I would say swing means it's real, right? I would say that's
Swing is bad.
swing is
Hit is
hit.
good.
That's a hit, I think. I think 0 hour comes a little bit more powerful out of the gate. I think those interactions that we touched on briefly, the reduced deploys, the drawing the cards, I think it kind of has more coalesces more obviously. I think Thrawn has a lot of very potential power, but you got to figure out how to build it. I think Thrawn, a good comparison I've seen is it's kind of like Rise of the Sith, where you have a very clear, strong early game, like play Thrawn and Chimera, start draining for 2 or 3. But then what do you do after that, right? And I think, like Rise of the Sith, took some time for people to figure that out, but now that deck's looking kind of good too. So I think at first 0 hour will be the more popular of the.
Okay. I mean, Rise of the Sith looks really good against Quiet Mind and Colony.
Oh,
That's true.
Okay, Brad, what do you think?
Good for Brian, man. Brian hard. Like, it was great.
What do you think, Brad?
Well, I'll be honest. I've seen a lot of games with both the Thrawn and the 0 hour. I think it's a hit.
Okay. I think it's going to be a hit too, just because, like you said, like with the Thrawn objective, there's a lot of nuance to it. It's a lot of like, okay, you rely on your opponent to give you the card to stack on the art card and everything. And I think Brad, what were you saying?
I just don't think that we're going to see a really competitive version of Thrawn before Worlds. I just think, I think for a nuanced deck like that, it's going to take a couple of cycles.
Okay.
It has a lot of pieces. I mean, it has the characters who pull artwork and pull non-art and pull anything, and the artwork interrupts. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, but it's not obvious. It's not like 0 hour. It's like, here's Rescue in the Clouds, right? We know what Rescue in the Clouds does,
Okay. So I think we're all in agreement on the hit there. Okay, question number 2. We'll start with Brad, because this one involves you, sir. The errata to Steadfast will slow down Brad Reinhold's Set Your Course for Alderaan deck.
That's an obvious miss. That I never dreamed with Steadfast at all at Nationals, ever. Not even I never dreamed with the Steadfast in any of my games.
Okay.
It's definitely a miss. I mean, the intent behind the Rada was not to hit Brad's 6 project. That was not.
No. Yeah, if I need to win by draining for 5, I should lose the game.
Right. Basically, we know that deck, honestly, the most powerful thing in that deck is the -1 to battle listening effect paired with Maul. So, like, making Veers immune to less than 8, making Dark Lord of the Sith immune to less than 7. Like, the stacking of the 2 -1s is really powerful, which is why I said at the beginning, maybe actually if Ezra pops up in a few decks, might be more impactful to potentially stop the Maul -1 and then bring that to a more recent -1. The Steadfast errata was not meant to hit the 6th deck. I mean, obviously, yes, of course, the Steadfast errata impacts the 6th deck. It was dumb, but it was not meant to impact like the competitiveness of it. You know that deck was not built around Steadfast just draining for 5 on turn 3. Like you said, it never even really happens. But when it does, it's just a really negative play experience. Like it's silly. Like you just shouldn't be able to drain for 5 at a system that on the previous turn wasn't a battleground. So like couldn't even interact with.
Well, like what we were doing even was we would just deploy the Steadfast on turn 2 to the Death Star, because it doesn't equalize the icons until you flip.
Until you blew it away, right? So it was literally no reason not to do it, and it's just
absolutely.
It was not the interaction intended. Steadfast was created before the 6th Helper, so that and it was overlooked. Like it was just simply overlooked. It couldn't happen. We should have not allowed that.
That's fair. Okay, question number 3. After the release of Set 19, Landing Claw will go back into deck boxes and see less play. I gotta go with it. It's a hit. Like that No Escape card is just gonna say no more Landing Claw for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a hit. I mean, that's why we put it on No Escape, right? If we hadn't put it on No Escape, if we'd literally just been a card that didn't have the No Escape top of lost pile text on it, then maybe Landing Claw would still pop in, because then you get into that counter war where like, well, are they packing the Landing Claw counter or not? Let me see. I'll bring it in. But No Escape is such a versatile card. Like I said, I at least personally put No Escape into basically any deck that has Beamless Accelerator plans, anyways. So I think that will just knock out Landing Claw. I hope, because honestly, that's what people want.
Okay, and our last
Brad, you think that's a hit or miss?
So I think for at least the initial part, it will be a hit. But I think as we get closer to Worlds, it'll depend on how many people are actually playing the No Escape B.
Okay. And then our last question, let's talk about some regionals. Jared Napolitano, Joe Olson, Charlie Arlinson, and Anthony Howard are the favorites to win their regionals this weekend. So Jared in Coruscant, Joe in Endor, Charlie in Bespin, and Batmouse in SoCal. Let's start with Drew.
All right, so Joe, obviously, easy favorite, even though I think Joe's kind of said that, he's just going to play whatever at the regionals, he's a little more checked out, but he's Joe. Of course, he's favorite there. I'm going to say, I got to say Greg Shaw is going to be favorite in Coruscant, personally.
Okay.
That's my guy. I love Greg, so I'm going to say Greg's favorite there. And then for the other two, you said Batmouse out in California. I always, you know what? I got to support my my colleague in D&D. I think Ryan Jellison can. He just pops in with those unexpected decks. You can't tech for Ryan. So I like Ryan. I like Ryan out in Alderaan. And then, sorry, what was the fourth one?
Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
I had to throw a new ally out there.
No, Minnesota's tough though. Minnesota's super competitive. And I will say that both Sam and Matt, Yoshi, and COG have messaged me a little bit about decks, independently. I've talked to them. So I think you got competition there. There's a lot of new allies out there. Yeah. But yeah, Charlie's on the top of his game. I mean, I think Charlie's one of them.
Okay, Brad.
I think Batman will win his. I'm not sure about the rest, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're going against Jared, Joe, and Charlie.
I'm going to go on the record and say I don't know how it will turn out there. I think there are a lot of really competitive things in those places, but I think Anthony will definitely walk away with SoCal.
Okay. So Jared, I mean, I know Greg is out there in Coruscant, and I know Bill is out there too. He's a tough guy.
Jared, that's why I'm saying,
is Bill in Coruscant? I don't even know what these regions are. Is Maryland all the way down there?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm saying I think Bill's going to be.
Hey, there. Bill, are you going to Coruscant regionals?
I'm pretty sure he is because he wants to trade me for foils and stuff.
Yeah.
Jared top forward at Worlds. He hasn't played since, but he top four. He lost to Joe. So Jared's pretty good.
I'm not in the Coruscant region, but I will be there this weekend.
And Greg, no offense to Greg, but he recently played some scrub in an OCS game and lost. So, Charlie,
I think they're all going to be very competitive. Coruscant,
I do agree. I do. Charlie, yeah, I think Charlie. I think Charlie. He's been on his game, like you said. Top 4 at the NPC, top 8 at Nationals, and a very stacked field.
Charlie's a very good player. I'm excited for our Dagobah regionals in September. Brad's coming up for it, and I've enticed Hayes Hunter to come because we're going to go to a concert the next day. So.
Oh, nice! But I think Batmouse is probably out of everybody on there. Joe and Batmouse have the best chance. Batmouse when he wants to win, will win. And I want to say
you're underrating Stubbly out there too, though.
I'm not, but
Hunter. I don't think Batmouse has ever lost to Stubbly at an event that counted besides
the fair enough. That's fair enough. You guys certainly know Batmouse's record better than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I have faith in the Batmouse. If there's two things that Batmouse has, well, I'd say there's three things Batmouse knows. It's Disney, meat, and Star Wars cards. I might be lying.
Yeah, he's really good.
Okay, Drew, we got one last thing for tonight, and that is not your lore challenge.
Oh, thank God, because I couldn't do it.
Because
And don't make me spell like.
No. You want it? It's not a spelling challenge either.
It's 5 U's and 5 R's.
This one is new, and for the first time, you're the first person to do this one. And the best part is, I actually get to put the card on the screen. It's going to be what card is under this V card.
Okay.
So, all it is
it Cara Dune? I know it's under Cara Dune. I got that one.
So, I'm going to put it up, and then you have 15 seconds to say what you think the card is. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Oh, wrong one.
Oh wait, I have to look at Twitch. Sorry. Does it just show up in my Zoom? Can you?
I'm not looking at the Twitch, so I don't know.
Right, so the card is
the Acclimator class.
Yeah, Acclimator class assault ship.
Okay, your timer starts now.
Acclimator class assault ship. I'm gonna go with Surprise Assault.
Surprise Assault.
Mm-hmm. That's the light side one, right?
It is, and unfortunately, I am so sorry, sir. It is not it. It is the Sorosub Landspeeder.
Oh, that was definitely my next guess.
Yep, it's the little Landspeeder from Premiere.
Fair.
But yeah, I think we're gonna be mixing that game up with the lore challenge, obviously, just to mix it up a little bit, because we've had a lot of people win the lore challenge recently.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little fun too. I mean, gotta put some virtual cards up on the show sometimes. But well, that's all we have for tonight. Again, I want to thank Drew for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Talking about Set 19 in the future, obviously, because like you said, you giving out some spoilers and some teases on what's coming down the line.
I'll be honest, I would have just been lip sealed, but Chris actually sent me a message right beforehand and said, feel free to discuss those. Huh. So happy to do that with our advocate's permission.
Hey, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Okay, Dan, that's a horrible policy.
I know it is, but yeah. But again, and then I want to thank Brad for coming on as a first-time guest. It's great to have you on tonight, Brad. Hopefully we'll see you on some more as well. And then next week on Holotheatre, we'll... I don't know yet. We have again this weekend with regionals coming up. We'll talk a little bit about the winners and everything regarding the regionals, as well as Georgia States. So maybe we'll talk, have somebody from there, and then we also have some more of the content creators coming on down the line as well, including the Kessling run. The Kessling run.
You got to get it right.
Yeah,
it's important.
It is important. Make sure you guys tune into that when he does that. Make sure you guys tune into Kendall when he does all of his podcasts. And make sure you guys look at all the other great content that people are putting out to get this game going on and everything. With that, I mean, this game wouldn't be continuing without the players and all the volunteers and definitely a lot of the content creators that are just putting out various materials. Like Ed Chien puts out stuff. We got the Mass Sassy Training Center that they do. Eric Garchow puts out like all of his openings and everything. So
there's a lot of great stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. So we'll definitely be handling that. And then next month, tune into the Hollies. Kendall and I will come back for that. So we'll have some great stuff, including Meme of the Year. We're not going to do Guest of the Year, so we'll do Fan of the Year. Co-host of the year, and some other great awards with those coming up down the line. So everybody stay tuned. So if you're going to go to your regionals, good luck. May all your Destiny draws be 6s. And
I like 6.5s.
6.5s are better.
You like 7.5s.
Oh.
7.5s are even better. I agree.
So everybody take care. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.